We're talking about growing the sport of hockey in Illinois, and the Blackhawks have done that single-handedly. John McDonough, Rocky Wirtz, of course, at the very top, putting it on TV and assembling just an unbelievable team. You know, 3 Stanley Cups in, what is it now, 7 years, 8 years? I don't know the exact numbers, but that is obviously going to, help make the game of hockey a lot more attractive to fans. And we've also assembled a panel back here, a group of guests who, in their own way, help grow the game of hockey. 3 you'll get to know really well. They're all Chicago born and raised. Well, one guy was born in South Carolina, but he came to Chicago at a very young age. And they basically developed their hockey skills right here in Chicago, in the state of Illinois. Some great stories. We'll also talk to the new general manager of the community ice arena, which, if you haven't seen it yet, it is literally 2 blocks from the United Center. It's a state-of-the-art facility. We'll watch a short video on that. And we'll also talk to a colleague of mine, Jamal, who does a great job on Comcast Sportsnet, won a Stanley Cup with the Blackhawks. And he is at the grassroots level with Annie Kamens, who just does a bang-up job of getting kids involved in hockey, interested in hockey. And we'll get a unique opportunity to talk to him. So without any further ado, just a couple of things just from personal experience. I grew up in Toronto. I played with the Blackhawks from '88 through '92. And we had really good teams back then. We went to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. But there weren't a lot of Illinois born and raised hockey players in the NHL in the 80s and 90s. And that has certainly changed. Eddie Olczyk had left the Blackhawks by the time I got here in '88. And I played with Chris Chelios, one of the more famous Illinois born and bred hockey players, a guy who's in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But you just look at the draft this past June in Chicago, and Chicago did an unbelievable job hosting it. 55 U.S. players taken out of the, I guess there's 7 rounds at 31, 217, whatever that works out to. So, almost a quarter of the players were American born, and a good chunk of those right here from the state of Illinois. So that let's hear it. Without any further ado, Andrea Hahn is the new general manager of the community ice arena. Extensive background with the Chicago Mission. She'll talk about some of the players who have gone on to the NHL from the Mission. I just want to bring her out here. Andrea, where are you? Mentioned Jamal Mayers. What a great teammate, what a great hockey player, and he's turned into a fantastic broadcaster too. I mentioned works with me on WGN pre and post game show, but he does a lot of important work behind the scenes as a community liaison for the Chicago Blackhawks. So Jamal Mayers, come on out. Chicago's own Ryan Hartman. I mentioned he's the guy who was born in South Carolina, but I think he moved here at the age of 2, so we'll have to ask him about that. But I know he played for the Mission. I want to say he played for Team Illinois too. Great athlete, could have starred in baseball, football, you name it, but he decided, golf too, he's a great golfer, but decided to concentrate on hockey. Breakout season for him this year. Boy, when we lost Andrew Shaw, a lot of people were worried, who'd pick up the slack, who'd be that kind of player. And it was certainly Ryan Hartman. Ended up with, I think, 19 goals. 20 goals in his first full year in the NHL, 76 games. That's amazing. So let's bring him out here, Ryan Hartman. He's a little faster on the ice than he is walking around here. Next up, one of my favorite guys. He is the epitome of speed and quickness. This guy is so fast on the ice. And, of course, we got to see him for almost 50 games here in a Chicago Blackhawk uniform. You root for him because he looks like kind of an underdog because he's not a real big guy, but he plays a big game. He's afraid of absolutely nobody. Former draft pick of the Chicago Blackhawks, played in the USHL, played at the University of Notre Dame just for a couple of years, but he played at the University of Notre Dame. Vinnie Hinostroza. And our last distinguished guest, I just met him literally 10 minutes ago. Great addition by the Blackhawks. This guy, whenever we played San Jose, he'd always jump out at me because he could play first line role, second line role, third line role. Very physical guy. You'll see that this year. He's always on the body. He'll sacrifice the body. Blocks a lot of shots. Scored his first ever NHL goal. I believe it was in the United Center. I'm going to have to ask him about it. But he was with San Jose, scored against Chicago. I think his family and friends were here. A superb addition by Stan Bowman. I think he is a native of Evanston, Illinois. Tommy Wingels. I got the press release literally 2 days before the convention that Tommy Wingels had broken his foot. And you can see right now he's wearing a boot. He's not going to wear a cast. In fact, he says, I hate wearing this boot. I don't really need it. But the doctors made him wear it. It actually happened almost 2 weeks ago. So he's well on his way to recovering. He'll be ready for training camp. I'm just glad he could come here because I'm not too sure if I could do it with the other 4 people out here. So, Tommy, thanks for coming. We've got a great video on the 3 guys who are going to be playing for the Blackhawks this year. So if we can dim the lights and maybe strike up the video machine.
I was probably 4 years old. I not only wanted to be a part of an NHL organization, but the Blackhawks growing up in Chicago. It's definitely a dream come true.
Couture slaps it to the net. Budai looking for it, and the puck's in the net, and it's a goal! Tommy Wingels! Wingels with a huge hit behind the net.
Of course, they told me one thing really important, Steve. Read this thing before you start the show, and of course, I forgot to do it, so let me read it right now. I think it pertains to questions. If you'd like to ask a question pertaining to this session's topic, please visit the question booth against the wall, located to my right, which should be over there, and fill out an individual question form. The last 15 minutes of today's session will be dedicated to questions from the audience. So they don't have to be related strictly to the growth of hockey in Illinois. It can be personal. Sometimes I think the more personal, the better. So come up with some great questions, and we'll ask it in the last little while. I'm going to start off with Ryan Hartman because I mentioned he was born in South Carolina. Maybe he can just explain a little bit of that story. But I also want him to expound on why he thinks hockey has really taken off in Illinois over these last 10 years.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was born down in South Carolina. Both my parents, my dad's from Chicago, from Palatine area. He went to, played soccer down at University of South Carolina. That's where he met my mom, and they had me. They got married down there. I lived there for 2 years and moved back up here to Chicago in West Dundee, Illinois. But yeah, I mean, the growth of Chicago with hockey and all the hockey players that are now coming up has a lot to do with the Blackhawks. I mean, the winning culture, and the more they win in the cups, and it brings more kids in the game. There's more ice rinks opens up, and when I was a kid, you really didn't see many Blackhawks jerseys around. There was a couple you can maybe see one or two every once in a while, but now you really can't go anywhere without seeing a jersey or a shirt or a hat or something. So it's crazy how much it's taken off, and it has a lot to do with the success of the Blackhawks.
So who's your favorite player growing up?
I mean, when I was young, they didn't have the games on TV, so I couldn't really even watch it. But and when I was a little older, I was watching guys like Taze and Kane. So definitely, those guys.
Yeah, those old guys.
Those old guys, yeah, those real old guys.
All right, Vinnie, I just wanted to ask you a question. Kind of the same thing. And did your mom dye your hair blonde when you were younger? Because I saw the blonde locks on a young Vinnie Hinostroza.
Yeah, no, she did not. I was actually, as a baby, I had really curly blonde hair. It was like a big afro, so yeah, she didn't dye that. That was natural.
And just talk a little bit about your hockey experience, you know, from when you can remember playing with the Mission. I think you played with the Mission growing up, and just why you think hockey's so popular in Illinois.
Yeah, I think like Harty said, when we were younger, hockey was definitely not as big in the Chicagoland area. But as we got a little older, the Blackhawks really took off and started winning, and you were able to see the games on TV. So I think everyone just fell in love with the sport. I mean, it's hard not to. So the Chicago Blackhawks did a great job with including all the fans and getting kids involved around the area.
You know, I look at you guys, and I don't want to call you blue-collar hockey players, but work ethic is certainly a part of that. I think the work ethic, when you think of the city of Chicago, is blue-collar and work ethic. Do you think that's got something to do with the popularity of hockey?
Yeah, I think so. If you think of a player from Chicago, you usually think of somebody who plays with a lot of heart and passion, and I think that's just thrived into us by our parents and guys we grew up watching, like Tommy. We played with his younger brother growing up, me and Hartsey, so we got to watch great players like this and have great role models.
And it brings me to Tommy Wingels. Tommy, I mentioned earlier before you came out here, love watching you play, the physicality, the team-first mentality. Just talk about, you know, growing up in Illinois, and I think you're an Evanston native, but just talk about growing up in Illinois, playing hockey, and what some of your experiences were.
Yeah, well, first off, I watched these guys live it as they're talking about it here. I must have been in college, 18, 19 years old, and these guys were 6 years younger than me, playing with my brother, age 12, for the Chicago Mission. So I've seen these guys go through the youth hockey here, you know, in this state, and followed their career paths getting to where they are now. So it's been a fun ride to see these guys grow from where they were, and you know, years ago to where they are now, and you know, now you know, elite players here in pro hockey. So that's been fun to see. But yeah, I kind of did the same thing too. Bounced around AA hockey in Wilmette, and then Highland Park. Did the AAA route. You know, I just think what's so unique here in Chicago is there's hockey for everyone at all levels. If you want to be competitive, you can, you know, drive around and play competitively. If you want to play professionally, there's opportunities there. And if you just want to have fun, you know, almost every city has the opportunity to play in some sort of league. So I think that's very unique for a city to have that. And ultimately, I think it's about the Blackhawks and you know, how popular they've made hockey. Because, like they said, growing up, it wasn't that way in the 90s. So it's fun to see where it is now, and to think about where it'll be 5-10 years from now is astonishing.
I teased the audience. I think your first NHL goal was at the United Center against the Blackhawks. What can you remember about that goal?
I don't remember much. I think I blacked out. But, you know, I know we were losing at the time, and I know we lost the game. You know, Blackhawks, I think, beat us the majority of times I played against them. But it was a really fun moment to do that in front of your friends and family in the building that you know, idolized yourself growing up and playing in one day. So certainly a memory of a lifetime.
Who was the goalie? Who'd you score on?
It was Crow.
It was Corey Crawford.
It wasn't that nice of a goal. It's kind of a redirection to me standing back door into an empty net, but they all count.
Hey, they all count. That's right. A goal's a goal. Jamal Mayers won a Stanley Cup with the Blackhawks, 2013. And not only was he helping them off the ice, he's helping them. Not only did he help them on the ice, he's helping them off the ice now. Future Goals, I think, is kind of the name of the program. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, one of the programs that I'm a part of is Future Goals, and this past year, we actually were able to bring 2,000 kids that participated in the program. And basically what it is, it's using the STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, and introducing the kids to how those relative fields relate to the game of hockey in all areas. So it could be production, film production, the, you know, in-game presentation. It could be made, you know, how the ice is made, the angles of shooting the puck and one-timing, to the science behind velocity and how the puck moves and how you're skating. It kind of gives the kids a break, I think, from the normal curriculum, and gives them an idea about how the game of hockey relates to those relative fields, and gains them, you know, it breaks up the monotony, if you will, and gives them a chance to learn, about the game, but get a break from their normal classwork. So proud of those kids that participated and completed the program. And I think we're going to show a little bit of a video of what we did and invited everyone down to the United Center.
Yeah, let's take a look right now.
This is over 2,000 kids who completed the Future Goals Hockey Scholar Program that teaches them about the game of hockey and some different jobs that are available outside of playing the game and how science and math relate to the game, and give them credit. They knew all the answers to the questions, and they get a unique opportunity to come in here and watch a morning skate.
We were lucky enough to be a part of the One Goal program when Jamal came out to school, and they got to play hockey and everything. And when I told them that we were going to come to the United Center, they were just blown away. I mean, a lot of my kids, this is the first and probably only time they'll come out here, so being able to sit a row off the ice and see the players up close and personal is just a really great experience for them.
It was pretty cool. I learned a couple of things about the players and how the game works and how it is to be at a game and in one.
I have tons of avid Blackhawks fans in my classroom, so being able to get them excited about science and technology, engineering, and math was awesome.
It was fun to learn something new, because I never really knew how to do sports, but hockey was the first one I knew how to do.
The older I got, I realized that writing and reading is so important to my job every single day.
Me hearing the speakers talk about that, it makes me think about what my goals are in the future. This has been my dream ever since I was a little kid, and my dream has came true.
Many more kids are excited about the game, engaged with what the Blackhawks have going, and it's a great program.
Yeah, great work, Jammer. Just part of the grassroots level that the Blackhawks really get their hands on. And you'll see, a lot of these kids get exposed to hockey 10, maybe 15 years from now. Some of these guys may be playing junior hockey, they may be playing college hockey, and hopefully someday possibly the NHL. Andrea Hahn, who is the general manager of the new community ice arena, I've been watching it built for, I guess, a little over a year now. Can you give us an update, Andrea, on where it stands, when the Blackhawks hope to move into it, and when you hope to open up?
Sure. Right now we're right around 70 to 75% complete. The building is completely roofed, and we're doing painting and putting up drywall. It's an unbelievable facility. I've been giving some people some information in the interactive hall. We have layouts of it. Right now we're due to open in December of 2017.
I think we're going to watch a video, but I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up on it. During the NHL draft, Gary Bettman was a part of the tour, along with, of course, Rocky Wirtz, the Chief Executive Officer of the Chicago Blackhawks, John McDonough, Jay Blunk. If we get an opportunity, let's just dim the lights again and watch just the video on this just state-of-the-art facility.
Proud and excited to be the Alderman of the Ward, to have such a facility being built. We'd like to thank Rocky Wirtz and the Blackhawks organization for their contribution to the city of Chicago and to our community.
One thing 30 plus years ago when we had the United Center, but when you take the Advocate Center where the Bulls now train, the Blackhawks Center here, they made this investment and they made it sure that everybody can participate in that investment. And that's the type of spirit we want to say, and it could not happen without Rocky and the organization.
This is for the community, this is for everyone in the neighborhood, not just for a few players and for the upper staff and our coaches and our trainers. But this is truly a community effort.
All of our teams have been upgrading, but this is clearly state-of-the-art. Absolute state-of-the-art. And again, doing it in a city like this is terrific.
It's great for Rocky and the Blackhawks to kind of take this step forward and put this in place for us, because ultimately it's about
winning games and getting better. This is a place that it seems like we'll all love coming to.
So this is a physical representation of an outlook and a spirit that Rocky demands of the entire organization and the team. And this area today is a campus that did not exist before.
Yeah, fantastic facility. What a lot of people don't realize, you know, the Blackhawks pretty much practice every day they're not playing. And when you look at a facility like the United Center, not only do the Blackhawks play there, the Bulls play there, numerous concerts. I want to say they're busy almost 300 days out of the year. So there's going to be a lot of dates that the Blackhawks can't practice there. That will be their practice facility. And as Patrick Kane said, it's going to be a huge advantage. Just a real nice place. Andrea, while we're talking to you, I know we talked backstage. I know at one point, and I've got boys who played hockey, Chicago Hawks, Chicago Blues. I've got a 2000 right now. He's playing on the U18 team for Team Illinois. But back in the day, there was maybe between 5,000 and 7,000 kids. I joined the Blackhawks in 2005, 2006, so we're going back 12 years. So roughly 5,000 to 7,000 kids were involved in playing hockey. Andrea, what's that number today? How many kids in the state of Illinois are playing hockey?
Over 30,000 and growing.
Yeah.
And a big portion of that is because of the Blackhawks. I've run ice rinks in the Chicagoland area for quite a while now, and I can tell you through programs like Jamal puts together and other programs that the Chicago Blackhawks do, those numbers go up and up. Then they come and they win a Stanley Cup, and our numbers will triple in one session. People love the sport, want to come out, learn it, and continue to support the Blackhawks and the programs that they're putting out there.
You know, whenever you looked at the draft, and it was always, well, where were players drafted from? And it was always the state of Massachusetts, the state of Michigan, the state of Minnesota. Now it's the state of Illinois. And I think currently there's 84 players playing Division I hockey, Division I college hockey from the state of Illinois, which is a huge number. And that's part of the reason John McDonough has just been put on a feasibility board looking at possible connections as far as colleges in Illinois that might host Division I hockey. And I think they're looking at the University of Illinois right now. So, you know, hopefully that becomes a reality. It might be 3 or 4 years down the road, but if they can get a facility built down there, you'll see Division I hockey again back in Illinois. I know the University of Chicago downtown had a program for a few years. That has since died off and gone away, but I'd love to see Illinois get a program. While we're on the topic of college hockey, just wanted to ask Tommy Wingels just about his experience playing at Miami of Ohio. What was that like? I think you went to a couple of Frozen Fours.
Yeah, we had a little bit of success while I was there. Just an incredible experience. I think the college hockey game is one that still has so much opportunity to grow. I think people watch it, but I think it can become a much more watchable sport because it really is good hockey. You know, it's the first time for most of us playing for your own school. You know, growing up here in Chicago, you know, we play travel hockey and AAA hockey. None of us have really played for your own school, and I think when you have that opportunity where people in your classes and your friends who you go to school with are the fans in the stands and share the same pride in the team, that's a whole nother feeling. So it's such a unique sport where you know, you're able to do that, and you know, my time in Miami, I don't know if we have any Miami grads here or people who have been there, just an incredible campus. You know, what a new rink does for a place, being centrally located here close to Chicago, a large Chicago community. Just, in my mind, a great spot. You know, I think we had the nicest rink in the country until, you know, Notre Dame knocked ours off, but, you know, they can tell you about that. But just an incredible experience, and I think that, you know, everyone has a different route making it to the NHL, but I'm a firm supporter that is a great way to go.
You weren't part of that Miami of Ohio team that lost in the final. I think it was overtime.
Yes, thanks for the reminder.
You know, the game was on ESPN, and I happened to be watching it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Miami of Ohio had a 3-1 lead, 4-2 lead late in the game. A couple goals get scored. Am I picking a scab?
You put it nicely. I think it was more of an epic meltdown than that. But yeah, it was about 3-1 with 2 minutes left in the game. They tie it up, and Yeah, I don't want to go into what happened after that, but you can imagine. And then the next year we lost in the Frozen Four again, so it happens. But maybe one day they'll get their first national championship.